Hi, this is Janet from Try It Like It, Create It, and today I want to show you a shrink art project. And so what we're using here is shrink film from Grafix, and this is the end result, and this was the stamped image. So I began by stamping with StazOn black ink onto the film. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with scissors and cut around the edge. Now normally when you're fussy cutting, you want to cut a little bit into the colored image, and in this case we want to keep that outer black line, so I want to stay to the outside of that. And so I am just going to try to keep my scissor right along the outside of those black lines. Should we cut some of it off, it's going to be okay. I will show you a quick fix after I get this done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish fussy cutting this one out just like I did the first one, and then I will be back to show you the next step. For the next step, we're going to be using a Sharpie or a permanent black marker, and I'm going to first go in to these solid areas that didn't get full, and I am just tapping little black dots to fill those in. I'm not going to draw or smear there. I am just tapping little dots to make those shapes more solid. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw around the edge. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually drawing on the paper, but letting the edge of the pen hit the shrink film. Okay, so if I hold on here and just kind of push into the edge, like right now it looks like a very dark edge, but what's actually happening is I'm drawing on the paper and I'm just giving this a light bit of black edge. And then anywhere that looks like it needs some filling in, you can go in and fill in those spaces. Okay? And it really just depends on your image that you've chosen and what that image looks like. So I'm going to continue to go around the edge here. For the next step, I am going to be coloring the pieces in to match the one that we've already done here. And what I have found that works, at least it works for me, is that I am using a watercolor brush marker, and I am just going to hold on to my shape and I am going to color in the pieces. Now you can see that the strokes here are very rough, I would say, and you can definitely tell that they are not solid. All right, but what I have found works is using, this is like a microfiber cloth, and what I'm going to do here is just kind of smush and wipe. And yes, it's lightening the color, but it's also taking those strokes away. Okay, and so I'm going to do this each time I color in an image. All right, so I'm just going around with the watercolor marker, or a water-based marker, I should say. These are brush markers. And you can see that they don't color on plastic all that well, but if I smush, it does kind of fill in and take away the marks. Now remember, a light image is fine because once, once we go to shrink it, the colors are going to intensify. So I am just going to follow the same color patterns here. And you could even let it sit for a minute, like I'm doing. I'm coloring and moving to the next shapes. And then because it's watercolor, it's not going to dry all that quick. And then I'm going to go back in and kind of flatten it out. Now to shrink this, I am working on a tile here, and I am just going to apply my embossing heat gun to it, and so I'll show you that process. To shrink it until it lays about flat, and now I'm going to take my dry erase marker and just give it a nice flat push and wait for it to cool off just a little bit before I go to move it. And so you can see now that they both are very similar. The differences here is that I went back in, once this was done, I went back in and did a little bit of coloring here. So I just went ahead and colored over where I wanted the colors to be a little bit more intense, and then I gave it a rub as well. So to finally finish the piece off, once I've gotten the colors where I want them and so forth, I am going to take my Sharpie marker again. I'm going to once again go around the edge this time, because now it's thicker. I can now color in that edge to give it a more professional look. And then I am going to color the back a solid black as well. So the next step was to use a Dremel tool and to drill a small hole into the top of each butterfly. Now I did this, if you can see, there's the hole on that one, and then there's the hole for that one. So they're going to hang like this as earrings. I had to do that off camera just because it is something that takes a lot of my focus and a little bit of nerves to make sure I don't I don't mess up. So I did that off camera, but just to let you know that you do need to add holes. You could do a hole punch before you do the shrink film. I prefer to do it this way, but you could do it whichever way works best for you. For the next step, I'm going to coat the back of each earring with a little bit of matte UV resin, and this is from UV Art, and I am just going to paint this on like a nail polish, just a very thin coat just to seal everything in place. And then we're going to apply a different resin, same company, to the front side to protect it as well. Now this is a quick cure resin, so all I need to do is expose it with a UV light for about 60 seconds. Now I can see that the matte has definitely made that back side matte. I can see that I've missed a few spots, and so I may just go in and touch those up while I have the chance, and then I will go to the other side.